Move on, Charles, to the issue of pre-crime.
Yes, well, that's what I'm heading this report. We're dealing with what's being called the Safer Streets Initiative, the Labour Party saying this is under the heading Plan for Change, which is somewhat doubtful because, of course, this was exactly what the Johnson government of 2022 called a similar initiative, but this is in response to what they're describing as reduced community policing. The police community support officers sort of halved, the halving of numbers of police on foot, undermining in the trust in police by various misconduct and criminal activities. Then we have the topics that I was speaking about the last couple of weeks, violence towards women and girls, and then, of course, domestic abuse up. And this, straight away, there's this link to the refined ideology surrounding terrorism, the definitions, and all the rest of it. But the government's saying that they're going to work with the police and they'll turn this around. They're not quite clear which direction they're going to turn it in, but nonetheless, they say that they're going to stick 13,000 additional police, PCSOs, and special constables specifically into neighbourhood roles. And as I say, this does feed into the new terrorism narrative because, of course, they're linking it to knife crime as well as the violence towards women and girls, and now domestic violence. So we just go on and show the specific announcement about coercive control now. So that, you know, with all of this, they're being very deliberately simplistic. They're focusing on the way that a problem manifests and not what causes it in the first place. And this links to the announcement about better protecting victims of domestic abuse. Now, the reason that I refer to this as being pre-crime is that we're dealing with behaviours that may happen based on something that has happened or might have happened. So what needs to be pointed out here with regard to domestic abuse, but specifically coercive and controlling behaviour, is that the ratio of, first of all, charges and then convictions is very, very low. And specifically, they're targeting offenders who've had 12-month sentences or more, and they said they'll now be automatically managed under multi-agency public protection arrangement, doublespeak if ever there was. Now, multi-agency, I would say, is synonymous with failure and corruption, but they plough on and state that agencies are going to be legally bound to, or sorry, legally required to cooperate. And here we get to these orders. So we've seen them with knife crime. We had the announcement for respect orders. So all of these things are very much pushing us into the area of pre-crime, where police or local authorities may take action based on something that you might do, but equally you might not. And it's nothing to do with the underlying causes in society, avoided absolutely every time. Now, the Home Office, of course, are boasting in their sort of end-of-year wrap-up last year about all the things that they've achieved, but this is exactly where they're referring to all of these initiatives, these orders, and these processes that really should not ever have formed part of the legislative framework in the first place. And this takes us forward to the Digital Policing Summit, which is not sort of, in a way, to be considered as an objective affair, sponsored as it was by Cityforum, a think tank which sells sponsorship packages, allowing involvement in developing an agenda. And it seems exactly to be what's going on here. An agenda is being developed. They're partnered with the Accelerated Capability Environment, ACE, which of course is an unfortunate acronym in policing terms because that also stands for Adverse Childhood Events. But nonetheless, they say that they have expertise from industry and academia to innovate collaboratively and deliver frontline mission impact at pace. They talk also about AI, who doesn't? And they say the consensus was clear. AI shouldn't replace people. It should empower them. And the goal of applying AI isn't zero crime, but mitigating and preventing incidents while maintaining public confidence. AI must be implemented thoughtfully as a tool to complement human expertise rather than replace it. And they reference the new National Centre of Policing, which Yvette Cooper announced several months ago. And of course, they're keen to make the point here that operational independence is not the same thing as organizational independence. Although, in fact, what they're setting out is exactly something that will completely nullify operational independence as they centralize platforms and they talk about collaboration and accountability structures. So this is absolutely going to strip away operational independence and of course the power of, or the exercise of discretion. And this has far-reaching sort of tentacles beyond policing into education, probation, community services, and even the private sector. So as we've reported on before, this is going to do away with the operational independence. And then, of course, we look forward to how this gets tied into the next iteration of the definition of terror and terrorism, and indeed the powers that are going to go with that.
Thank you, Charles. Let's come back to